In this video, I play a massive poker game at Hustler Casino Live in Los Angeles, California. The lineup includes co-owner Nick Vertucci, livestream regular Mike X, Sandman, Sia, pro gamer Nate Hill, livestream commentator Billy DeGaff, and Sir Tao. I start with $15,000 in my stack, with an additional $25,000 on the side that I'm willing to risk. I play a ton of huge pots and exciting hands throughout this live stream, with one of the biggest ones coming on the last hand of the night. This one's going to be fun. Let's get started. With blinds at 10, 20, 40, DGAF calls 40, Sir Tao raises to 150. I 3-bet the hijack with ace-4 suited to $400. My plan for this live stream is to bring the action. I want to be playing a lot of hands, 3-betting, 4-betting, playing big pots, making big bluffs, trying to make some exciting hands happen. Well, back over to Sir Tao, who wants to play an even bigger pot when he puts in that 4-bet to $1,400. And I am in a tough spot here. My very first hand at Hustler Casino Live. Should I fold my ace-4 suited and just live to see another day? Should I call and try to see a flop? Should I 5-bet jam as a bluff? Don't think he's ever 4-bet folding any hands. Now, of course, as you guys can see, he's got the 3-deuce suited, so he would be 4-bet folding this hand. But I feel like in position with over $5,000 to play for, I can call here with a suited ace and see what happens on the flop. So just like that, $3,000 in the middle, first flop on Hustler Casino Live comes out King Deuce 5, all spades, exactly the right color, but not the right shape. Sir Tao checks. I'm not going to be bluffing on this board, so I check behind. Turn card 6, he now bets. Don't really think there's much I can do in this situation. 4-bet pot, ace high, I'd have to fold, and we lose the first pot down around $1,500. This show is nicknamed Thirsty Thursdays, so I reach back, grab my beer, and realize there's still 5 more hours of poker left to be played. As you guys can also see, I got a little bit red. I actually spent 2 hours before the live stream at beautiful Hermosa Beach getting some sun, but I got a little bit too much sun, and I'm pretty sunburned. I'm actually hurting quite a bit. Moving on to this next hand, where Under the Gun raises to 130. I 3-bet King Queen of Hearts to $400. I get a cold call on the button, and Sir Tao makes the call as well. We are in need of a pair and some aloe vera, and we do get one of those on a flop of Queen 4-5, making top pair King Kicker. Checks to me. I bet $500, and now the button Sandman raises me to $1,300. Folds back over to me, and I feel like we have a very standard call. I do have to be worried. It's possible he could have 2 pair here. Queen 5, Queen 4, 4-5, pocket 5s, pocket 4s, ace, queen, pocket aces, but he could have some bluffs as well, some straight draws, some open-ended straight draws, possibly some worse Queen X hands, maybe a random bluff like ace-jack offsuit. I do make the call, and the turn card's a really good one for me when it comes out the 4 of clubs. I check over to him. The reason I say this is a very good turn card is because it reduces the likelihood that he has a hand like pocket 4s, 4-5, Queen 4, because there's another 4 on the board. Back over here to Sandman, who does not step off the gas. $2,300 bet back over to me. I'm getting a little bit worried now because I feel like this is a card he wouldn't continue to bluff on because it's just such a brick. But I don't think I can fold in a 3-bet pot. King, Queen, I don't really like it, but I got to put in the chips. $2,300 in the middle, and this pot is ballooning $8,500 to the 10 of spades on the river. We're now losing to Queen 10, which we were beating. I check over to him, hoping this one goes check, check, but it doesn't. With a beer in hand, Sandman fires out a $5,500 river bet. Huge bet, $5,000 to call with just a queen. I feel like he's not going to be bluffing here very often. He could easily have pocket 5s, 4-5, Queen 4, ace queen, maybe slow played aces or kings. We lose to Queen 10 as well. There's not many bluffs in his range. Maybe some straight draws that missed, like ace deuce, ace 3, 5-6, 6-7, backdoor clubs miss. Not really sure what I want to do. It's a $5,000 bet. Big spot here on the river. After about a minute of thinking, I finally come up with my decision.
Ash cat.
Call.
Call.
And there's the call.
Ace jack.
pot of nearly $20,000 heading over to Lexo.
Tough spot Sandman put me in, but we found the call. $10,000 worth of profit in that hand, $22,000 stack within about a half an hour of this live stream. This is Thirsty Thursdays, so I graduate from a beer to a green tee shot. If you guys remember the last time I played, I had a couple of these and they gave me some run good. Hopefully that comes out here in this session. There's a bunch of calls before DGAF makes it $300 in the cutoff. With King Queen offsuit, I don't want to call and go multi-way. We want to play big pots, so I 3-bet squeeze in the small blind to $1,400. Back over to the cutoff, who makes the call. We go heads up out of position to 10-9-3 rainbow. I bet $1,000 and DGAF makes the call. Turn card 10. Obviously, this is a pretty bad card for us. Probably not going to have too many 10s in my range. He's going to have a lot more 10s than me. I think I can check here or bet small if I did have aces, kings, or queens. I would want to continue to bet for a small sizing or check. So I decided to bet small, trying to get him to fold out his ace-high hands and hands with some equity. I make it $1,300. Back over to DGAF, who has different plans. When he decides to raise here with queen high, we snap fold our king high, and he takes this one down with a semi-bluff. The very next hand, I'm trying to get my $2,000 back. There's a $100 straddle, 2 calls, and I've got any 2 cards in the button. Doesn't really matter. I'm trying to get in there. I bump it to $600. Back over to Sia, who makes the call. We go heads up in position to an ace-high board, giving me a gut shot, and she checks over to me.
This pot probably
and hope he fold.
Lex's for the taking, and it is.
Shouldn't I play with
The button is a very powerful thing.
I don't care. He lost with aces first.
Yeah, that was not nice.
Having some fun on this live stream, and we do have some fun in this next hand. A bunch of calls are raised by Nate to 300 button calls. I decide to squeeze again here in the small blind to $1,600 with 6-5 offsuit. I would not recommend this play. Definitely a little bit punty, but like I said, we're trying to get in there. A ton of dead money in the pot. Feel like this re-race is going to work a lot of the time, and it does against Nate when he folds ace-jack offsuit, but it doesn't work against Sir Tao when he calls on the button. Not exactly what I was looking to see, but he's got over $8,000 to play for. Let's see what happens on the flop, which comes out very good for us. Ace-King-7 rainbow, a great flop for my pre-flop raising range. I can have ace-king, aces, kings, all sorts of strong hands, so I bet small here. $700, same size I would mostly use with those ace-x hands, with those sets, with those top pairs and gut shots. And now surprisingly, Tao raises me to $2,200. This really surprises me in the actual moment, just because I don't think he should be having any raises on this board ever. I feel like he would just call here with all of his top pair. Probably doesn't have king-7 very often, shouldn't have ace-king, shouldn't have pocket aces or kings, but what can I really do here with 6-5 offsuit? I thought about jamming here because his hand doesn't make any sense the way he's played it, but I'd rather do that with a hand with at least a little bit of equity. 6-5 offsuit doesn't have any at all. I'm pretty much handcuffed, so I fold. Nice hand here by Sir Tao, raising it up on the flop with the jack high and getting the 6 high to fold. A crazy 2 first hours to start out, $22,000 stack, profiting almost $8,000 so far on the stream with 3 more hours to go. Well, another hand, and we have seen this spot before. A bunch of calls, DGAF races in position to 300. I have a hand I want to play, but I'm out of position, don't want to just call, so we're bumping it up again. $1,500 3-bet squeeze out of the big blind, queen 10 offsuit. Everybody folds, but DGAF makes the call. $22,000 effective to start the hand. This pot could get huge, and when it comes out, queen high with 2 spades, giving me top pair. Also giving DGAF a flush draw. Definitely going to be betting on this board with my top pair. I make it $1,600 and he makes the call. $6,500 already in the middle. These pots are getting huge. 4th card, deuce of hearts. Doesn't change anything at all. I feel like it's a close spot between betting here or checking. I feel like checking is good versus this player type. I feel like he's going to be stabbing a lot and semi-bluffing if I check and show weakness. So that's what I decided to do. I check over to him, and he checks back. River card here, deuce of diamonds, a really good run out for me. Once DGAF does not bet the turn, I feel like our hand is always good here. I could check again, but it seems like he's not in the bluffing mood after he checked back on the turn. I feel like he has a hand with showdown value, possibly a weaker queen, maybe an 8x hands, pocket 9s, pocket 10s. So I target those hands with a large bet of $7,200, but it doesn't matter. He's got ace high, he folds, and we win this one. So far, so good. As you can see in the bottom left, our stack has risen to $25,000 in the game for $15K. You can do the math. That's a $10,000 profit so far on my second green tee shot of the day. This is Thirsty Thursdays. Let's drink up. I have a nice suited connector with 8-3 of diamonds, and I decide to raise this hand. A new player here, Tyrone, makes the call. I decide to check my flush draw on the flop. I make a flush on the turn and bet, and he folds, and we take this one down with 8-3.
Cloned him, maybe.
Well, what you folded a good bomb pot.
Yeah, he told me.
300. This is the first time I've had a big hand on the button. Every time he raises, it's the same thing.
I wasn't lying when I said I had a good hand. 6-5 suited, beautiful cards on the button, but Tyrone doesn't care when he 3-bets me out of the third blind at 1,200. Sandman makes the call. I make the call with 6-5 suited and get an amazing, beautiful flop of queen, 3-4, 2 spades, open-ended straight flush draw for us. This is big. Tyrone continues for $2,100, facing a large bet in a 3-bet pot. How should we play this hand? We have so much equity, but right now we only have 6 high. Do we call in position, try to hit one of our outs? Do we raise and semi-bluff? I'm trying to play big pots. I think a raise is incoming. I make it $5,000. I go a little bit smaller here on the flop, thinking that if he calls here on the flop, the pot will be around $16,000. He'll have $16,000 left in his stack on the turn for me to shove all in and apply max pressure. That doesn't happen though. Tyrone just has ace high. He folds, and we profit $4,600 here with a straight flush draw on the flop. Apparently the poker gods reward you when you play a lot of hands, because we get dealt in, finally, pocket aces in the cutoff. There's a couple limps. I race to 300 and get 3 callers, going 4 ways to 5-3 deuce rainbow. With aces on this board, it's a pretty connected board. Could be beat here by some 2 pairs sets and straights. I don't really need too much protection with aces, so I decided to check this one back in position. Turn card 10 of hearts, action checks to me again. I fire out a handful of white chips for a $700 bet. Action folds over here to Nate, who has a flush draw and decides to play it aggressively with a check raise to $2,000. And immediately the alarm bells are going off in my head. So far this session, Nate has been playing very solid. Hasn't been getting out of line, so I feel like he's not bluffing very often in this situation. Although his hand doesn't make too much sense, why would he check again on the turn? If he did have a really strong hand, I feel like it's definitely possible he could have some sets here, some 2 pairs and some straights, but not going to fold versus that sizing. However, if he fires out huge on the river, may have to let these aces go. King of diamonds, a little over $5,000 in the middle. Action over here on Nate. He's got 9 high and slows down and checks. Once he check raises the turn and then checks this river, I feel like 96.5% of the time we're going to have the best hand. A small percentage of the time he's going to be trapping again, looking to do the double check raise. Do think I can still go for value against a 10x hand or a king x of hearts hand, so I bet pretty big according to the size of the pot, a little over $3,000, and the action's back over on Nate.
Show me ace king of hearts, I'll give you $10.
I was going to say, I would prefer a small bet, I think.
So far, so good in this live stream, sitting on $32,000 of chips on this table. Aces don't get cracked. We're making some pairs and some hands. Haven't gotten coolered yet, but there's still a lot of hands left to play. Moving along here next, where I get to play a pot with one of the nicest poker players you'll play with, Mike X. However, he wasn't too nice in this hand. I raise in the hijack to 250. Nick Vertucci calls in the cutoff. Mike 3-bets me to $1,300. $27,000 effective to start the hand. Ace-9 suited. At a position, I could 4-bet here, I could fold, or I could call. This time, I decided to call.
I'm priced in. Your price.
I know Nick's gonna fold, yeah.
Wait. It's true.
Nick felt seen there.
Throwing a little friendly needle over here to Nit Tucci, who's also another fun player to play with at the table. Heads up here to 9-5-6 Rainbow. Top pair, top kicker for me. I check, and Mike does decide to c-bet on this board for an $1,100 sizing. Somewhat surprising because his 3-bet range shouldn't be connecting very often on this lower connecting board. But I have ace-9, top pair, top kicker, easy call for me, which is what I do. Turn card pairs the board. Like I said earlier, this does reduce the likelihood that he does have a hand like pocket 5s and 5-6. I check to Mike again, who fires out another big bet of $4,200, and we are in a spot here with top pair, top kicker. When he bets his sizing on the turn, he's either saying he's got a very strong hand or he's bluffing. Mike can have a ton of strong hands on this board, 7-8 suited for a straight, pocket 9s, pocket 6s for a full house, and he can have all the big overpairs, which is what I'm mostly concerned about. 10s, jacks, queens, kings, aces. He would play those hands exactly like this. The other thing is that this game is quite small for Mike, which means he's going to be the opposite of scared money. If he is bluffing here on the turn, he's not going to be giving up on the river. I'm going to have to face a $4,000 bet here and probably a $10,000 plus bet on the river. I think I have to make up my mind now on the turn, whether I want to call here and call down on the river, or if I want to make a really tight fold. And given the fact that I feel like Mike's got in this situation, I decide to fold my ace-9 and get punished when he's got the ace-8 suited. So much for being the nicest guy in poker. He bluffs me good in this pot and takes down $2,800 worth of profit, but I got another green tee shot to wash down my sorrows. I guess that's what I get for making fun of Nick Tucci folding pre-flop. I make a bad fold, and we have one of our first big mistakes of the night. Billy had been playing a lot of hands blind pre-flop. This one he calls $40 without seeing his cards. King 5 of diamonds I raised to $300. Sandman makes a call. Nate makes a call. And now Billy bumps it up with Queen Jack offsuit to $1,500. We're $30,000 effective to start this hand. That's 750 big blinds. Super deep stacked poker. In position here, King 5 of diamonds is a fold versus a 3-bet. But I'm trying to give some action. I don't want to just play premium hands. I also don't want to fold when people 3-bet me. I want to play some big pots in position. Billy's got a lot of money in front of him. So do I. So I make the call. Rest of the players fold. And we go heads up here in position. King 5 of diamonds to Jack 9 deuce. 2 clubs, 1 diamond. Complete whiff for us. DGAF now bets $1,000. This seems like a very easy fold for me. I do actually think we could raise here. Given the fact that we're very deep stacked, we can bump it up, try to put pressure on hands that don't really want to face a raise. I can get him to fold out ace-10, ace-king, ace-queen. So I bump it up here to $2,800. My plan here is if he calls, I can continue with a big bet on the turn if any diamond comes out. I can also continue big if a 10 comes out, or if a queen comes out, or if a king comes out. I'll bet with my top pair. Unfortunately, though, Billy does have a hand that is not going to fold. He's got Queen Jack, turn card 7 of spades, $9,200 in the middle. We semi-bluffed on the flop. We got called. This turn card doesn't give us any extra help. No flush draws, no straight draws, not a scare card. So I give up and check back. River card 6, he bets, I fold, and we lose a couple $1,000s in this hand. We are nearing the end of the stream and decide to put on the $100 straddle. Game is 10, 20, 40, 100, folds to the hijack, who makes it $300. Nate next to act, and the cutoff makes it $1,000, and I'm in the big blind and peel back ace 5 suited. This is one of those hands that you could potentially turn in to a 4-bet bluff. It's a later position open and a later position 3-bet. Nate has been giving me credit all night and been folding to me. There's a lot of dead money in this pot. Let's put the pressure on. I called 4-bet here with ace 5 suited to $3,500. Hijack gets out of the way. And unfortunately for us, we are running right into Nate's top of range ace-king offsuit. Nate is sick of my pre-flop plays and decides to 5-bet me to $8,000. This is a huge raise pre-flop for this game. I think the first 5-bet we have seen. Back over on me, ace-5 suited facing a 5-bet. Out of position, we're getting a pretty good price. It's only $4,500 more for me to call. We're over $30,000 effective to start this hand. That's a ton of big blinds, like I said earlier, but I feel like when Nate 5-bets here, his hands are going to be aces, kings, and maybe ace-king. Obviously, those hands have our ace-5 suited crushed. I now start thinking what could be cool would be a 6-bet jam all in for over $30,000, around 4 green tee shots deep. My thoughts were that if I 6-bet jam all in for $30K, he's only going to call with aces. We have an ace in our hand, so we block him from having aces, but I couldn't pull the trigger. I fold my ace-5 suited, lose $3,500, and Nate has a little celebration.
I was about to pop it. If you called, we were gonna do a tank top off.
If I would have known Nate was gonna pop the top if I called, I would have put in those $4,500 just for the YouTube clicks and views, but I didn't. Moving on to the last hand of the night, and it is a fun one. $100 straddle is on. Mike X calls $100. Tyrone calls. Sandman, Sia, Nate, D-Gaff, Sertow calls over $800 of dead money in the middle, and I peel back pocket queens.
Bump it up. Who's gonna poop in the punch? Who's bumping it up?
Bunch of limps, and Lexo wakes up with queens.
Mr. Coppertone here.
I'll go
Coppertone.
16.
1,600.
Sandman. Never inviting this guy back.
Giant raise here.
Oh, yeah.
And now Tyrone is going to back raise,
Later.
jam the ace-6 suited, and
It's like 10,
run
right?
it straight into the mouth of the beast here. Snap call from Lexo.
How many times?
One time.
One time.
One time.
Well, that escalated quickly. Last hand of the night, $20,000 in the middle here with pocket queens. I say one time because on these live streams, I want max pain. Either I'm going to win a big pot or I'm going to lose a big pot. I have no idea if I'm ahead or if I'm flipping or if I'm behind here with pocket queens. All I do know is that if I lose this pot, I'll basically be back to even on the session. If I win, it will be the biggest cash out I've ever had on a live stream. Huge pot brewing here. Last hand of the night. Let's see if we can hold.
Somehow does have 43% equity, but not so much when Lexo flops quads.
That's it?
Queen in the window, followed by another one, quads on the flop, and a $20,000 pot in Los Angeles, California at Hustler Casino Live. It doesn't get too much better than that. Our stack has now risen to $37,000. This hand closes out the stream. 5 hours of huge pots, exciting hands, lots of laughs and lots of drinks. A great time for me. Obviously, I ran very well. Huge shout out and thank you to the staff, the production, the dealers, everyone involved out here at Hustler Casino Live. Some closing stats for you guys. I almost played half of the hands I got dealt in. 44% VPIP for me. Pre-flop raise at 28% at the top there, and then closing out with a $21,940 win. My biggest ever cash out and win on a live stream, running hot the entire night. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see ya.